pick a door.
Can you at least close the door? So soon, we are allegedly getting a new Armory store rotation. From the map collections, I expect Overpass 2024 to get discontinued. And just to rage bait some people in the comments, I can promise, Train 2025 is staying. Why? Because my crystal ball told me that. Today, we're going to look at which weapon skins have the biggest investment potential based on previous discontinuations and figure out which skins have the highest percentage yield when a collection gets discontinued. Before we jump into predictions, let's talk about my methodology. I analyze historical discontinuation behavior across Anubis Package, Fracture Case, Gallery Case. For each one, I looked at price on announcement day, price if bought 1 month before removal, rarity behavior, and skinsware behavior. Then I split the results into top 5 rankings per collections. And we are not looking for the best skin, we are looking at where does the percentage spike the hardest during the announcement. If we can identify a pattern, we maximize the gains. But also keep in mind, past performance does not guarantee same future results. And before we start, if you're trying to squeeze extra profit out of your CS2 investments, use code Chris on SkinSwap to get a free skin worth up to $50 on your first trade and a lifetime 3% bonus on your sales. Right now, the Chinese market has better deals on certain skins, especially Armory items. For example, Fever Case are around 65 cents, which is roughly 10% cheaper than the most Western marketplaces. That's an instant edge and you can access those cheaper Chinese markets without needing a Chinese ID or a bank account. That's why this video is sponsored by SkinSwap. SkinSwap is a CS2 trading website where you can trade your old skins to instantly upgrade your inventory, access cheaper Chinese market skins, and sell your CS2 skins for real money using PayPal, Venmo, crypto, and more. We start with the most recent discontinued example, Anubis Package. This was a store package that got discontinued on September 15th. Most people did not expect it to happen, but it did. So let's look at what numbers actually say. The biggest percentage winner was a Mag 7 copper coated field tested. Before removal, it was trading at around 41 cents. During this discontinuation spike, it went to $2. That's a 383% move. Today it sits at $2.40. Sounds insane, but here's the issue. It's extremely illiquid. Only around 300 skins sold during the spike on Steam, and even less on third-party marketplaces. So if you invested 1,000 into this, you might as well chill at the cock chair. Then the second place, Tech 9 Mumsrot. The field tested version rose by 343%, a massive move, very low volume, not scalable if you acquire in big amounts. Then, number 3, Nova Sobex Byte Well Worn. Another huge percentage spike of 338% from $2.68 to $11.74, currently worth $12.77. These are percentage traps, amazing on paper, but painful on execution. Now this becomes more interesting. Higher base price of $21, spiked by 332% to $94, currently at $96. It's a higher total value traded, more realistic liquidity, but still not optimal, but far more viable than the previous mil specs and restricteds. And because I wasn't fully satisfied with the low tier skins results, I checked what the best performing play skin would have been, and it is M4A4 Eye of Horus, placing the 18th place. Price before removal was $201, price during the spike was $763, that's a percentage return of 279%, lower percentage than the mil specs, but much higher liquidity, much easier exit, and much more scalable. This would have been a more realistic flip with a bigger capital. And here's something interesting. If you had bought most of these skins 1 month before discontinuation and held until today, you would have made almost the same return, in some cases even more, meaning selling instantly on announcement was not necessarily the optimal strategy for Anubis Package. Now the real question, does Fracture behave the same way or does the pattern change? Finally, a proper play skin. A classified pink M4A4 factory new went from roughly $10 to $28 during discontinuation. That's a 182% increase. Currently it sits at around $17. In this case, selling the news was clearly the best move. Next up, ding 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 ding, the AK-47 Anubis of Legion, also factory new. This one went from $20 to $53 during the announcement. That's a roughly 156% growth. Currently sits at around $72. Part of this move was supported by trade-up contract demand, but this is still a pattern I like to see. Then, another factory new play skin went from $1.15 to $2.43. That's a growth of 156% during discontinuation. Currently it sits even higher at $3.69. Next up, Mac 10 Allure. This one doubled during the announcement window from $1.27 to $2.48. That's a 100% increase. But here's the interesting part. If you held, you'd now be up nearly 400%. Huge difference between flipping instantly and holding longer. Further, Tech 9 Brother. Same story here. Factory new restricted, doubled during discontinuation, and continued to climb after. Now we're seeing something very different compared to Anubis. The pattern here is play skins, factory new, and consistent liquidity. Much more structured behavior. Fracture was something we expected to get discontinued. Anubis was unexpected. Because the market anticipated fracture removal, the percentage spikes were much lower than Anubis, and in several cases, holding after the announcement actually produced even higher returns. There was a short buyback window, but it overlapped with the trade-up contract update, which distorted the pricing. And lastly, the gallery case. This was something we did not know would get discontinued, which makes it extremely interesting. Let's look at what happened. Starting off with another play skin, M4A4 Turbine. Factory new restricted, it went from $6.46 to $32 during discontinuation. That's almost 400% increase, and as we can see, it has a similar behavior to Anubis, percentage growth wise. Then we have the new factory new Desert Eagle Calligraphity from 70 cents to $3 during removal. That's a 328% growth, and today it's sitting at $11.17. That's an even crazier long-term return. Third place, another play skin, AK-47 The Outsiders, went from $42 to $152. That's 256% increase, currently sitting at around $120, so that's a clear decrease. Then Saiba Oni, factory new restricted, from $2.50 to $7.72. That's a growth of 209. Now trading slightly lower, but still holding most of the move. And finally, a cheaper skin, Mil-Spec Scar 20 Trailblazer, from 35 cents to $1, growth of 185%, currently at around 95 cents. And as we can see, there's a clear pattern again. Factory new is on top, play skins perform the best. The behavior is logical. If you sold during the announcement and rebought later, you could have executed a very strong flip. But even if you simply held, you would have been fine. And to summarize, collections that were unexpectedly discontinued produced the strongest percentage gains. Anubis and Gallery both showed explosive upside, on average 300%. Fracture, which was expected to be removed, produced smaller percentage spikes. There was also unfortunate timing with the trade-up contract update, which makes it slightly harder to isolate pure discontinuation effects, but one pattern is clear. Factory new play skins consistently perform best, and restricted rarity was a common occurrence. And now we want to apply this information to Overpass 2024. Using this information, if Overpass gets discontinued, I would personally look at Desert Eagle Tilted, M4 Wash Me Please, Glock Teal Graph, Galil Metallic Squeezer, and Mach 10 Pipsqueak. Based on historical behavior, these have the highest probability of strong percentage upside. Personally, I plan to sell during early announcement volatility and do a buyback later. And before we jump into the portfolio update, I just want to quickly thank all of you. The last month has honestly been crazy and exciting to me. I really enjoy giving advice on Discord, sharing my thoughts, and even share my music with you guys. And getting a sponsor this early on, that was a crazy experience. So because of that, and thanks to SkinSwap, I'm giving away one M4 Black Lotus to a random subscriber who liked the video and left a comment, and the MP9 Rose Iron will go to a random Discord member through a giveaway bot. The winners will be announced on Discord during the next video upload, so make sure you're logged in. And now back to business. My portfolio is currently sitting at 14,500. This week's budget is 590. 100 goes into my secret project, and the remaining amount goes into my Overpass 2024 positioning. And that's it. Bye bye.